Starscream, Starscream, Starscream. Stars... Cream. Out of all the characters in the Transformers franchise, Starscream's immense popularity outside of the fanbase has been something I've loved. You can't have a snivelling, traitorous second-in-command in anything without it being compared to our beloved Flyboy. I love him in every continuity. Well, almost every. We'll get to that. The fact that the franchise has gone through so many changes over the years, with Starscream's core values remaining almost exactly the same, is something I don't mind because it's kind of perfect. Starscream's three main character traits are his ambition, his skittishness, and his ego. He's the perfect foil for Megatron or whoever happens to be in charge. Why do they keep him around? I don't know, he's got his hand stuck in an abacus. Wouldn't you keep him around for laughs? The point is, I love this guy as much as the next Tumblr sexy man. Even when the story being told isn't great, I usually find myself enjoying Starscream because he's really hard to screw up. People love rooting for a good villain, and Starscream almost always is a good one. So today, I'm going to be ranking every on-screen Starscream there's been on movies and TV. Ground rules. No comics, shit's way too confusing, too many runoffs. No video games, full of Cybertron Starscream is too powerful for this list. Cyber missions? Forget about it. Got a problem with that?
You don't love anybody but yourself and your dumb old computer. You don't care.
That leaves us with 10 different Starscreams from 10 different continuities in 16 different shows and movies. Jesus Christ. Let's begin.
Destroy the launch pad. Let none escape.
There he is. He's standing up there. Yep, that sure is a Starscream. I mean, he looks cool. Is his face all scrunched up, or does he just look like that normally? I guess we'll never know. Remember when everyone thought Blitzwing was going to be Starscream? Good times, good times. Anyway.
Okay, this part is actually really good. I mean, it's... Oh my god! No, don't do it! No! He fell off the fucking building! No!
Farewell, Autobot scum, and good riddance, mighty Megatron.
War for Cybertron Starscream has to be the most vanilla of the lot. Just a very basic Starscream, except he's kind of stripped of all of his fun. He's just really boring. He doesn't get much of a chance to shine, kind of just sits in the background a lot, like Bumblebee Screamer. The one scene of any memorability he has is the one scene where he meets Unicron and learns he's gonna die, which I ironically forgot happened. He's fine? Look, I'm clutching at straws here. I got nothing. You try elaborating on this. He's not exciting. Even when he's a coward, it's not interesting. He's just oatmeal, you know? And not even good oatmeal. I'm talking Sainsbury's oatmeal. Like, if you drown your oatmeal in the recommended amount of water and milk like the box suggests, you won't get as nearly a rich enough flavour as you will if you use way more. So try pouring it into a bowl and putting a few fruits on top. I like strawberries best, but you can use whatever you want. I wouldn't recommend trying it with instant oats. They get a bit clammy, so you might want to try rolled oats for the best effect.
I'm excited for you because I know by supplementing oatmeal in your diet, you're going to see a major epidemic worldwide. People are living on oatmeal and their conditions are getting worse.
Starscream, whatever it is you're planning here, give it up. Your ploy will fail as always.
There is no ploy, Megatron. I've been trying to atone for my sins. Something you should try.
Prime Wars Starscream has one really cool character moment and nothing else to bring to the table. What started out as a legitimately interesting take on the character quickly devolved into the same old Starscream. I just wish they stuck to the guns and gave us a Starscream that actually has to deal with the responsibility of the power he's been given. His whole plan of playing a long game to turn himself into the Nihilant from Half-Life is just so out of nowhere. I'm sure Starscream's portrayal could have been quite interesting if we got to see his inner conflict some more. Like, does he really want to betray his new friends after years of being beside them? How does he feel about anything that's happening? You know, questions like that, but it's Prime Wars, so... Prime Wars ends with his ghost being all menacing in the corner to set up a sequel, but then it immediately says the end, like they knew they weren't getting a fourth series. Like, what were they thinking? Overall, it's just not a very interesting take on the character. You'd be hard-pressed to find a Prime Wars Starscream fan out there. If you're out there, get your taste buds checked because I'm legitimately concerned for your well-being.
Where is the cube? The humans have taken it. You fail me yet again, Starscream.
Okay, I beg of you, hold back your Dorito jokes. They were never funny. Talk about his chicken legs, compare him to any other triangular object, I do not care. Stop calling him a Dorito. You see, when I was a little baby PaperPlane, I called him Pyramid because he's freaking Egyptian. Wait, what did he say? Pansy? Fatty? Booty? Anyway, out of all the jumbled piles of garbage Michael Bay calls Decepticons, I actually quite like Starscream in these movies. He's got some spunk to him, you know? He's actually quite formidable in battle and stuff, and he's competent. I also like how he and Megatron have a relatively healthy friendship. Like, he's not constantly plotting against him, he's just a huge suck-up that occasionally revels in Megatron's suffering. Charlie Adler does a great job getting this across, even if his voice in the first movie sounded more like Megatron than Megatron did. The animators really brought him to life too. I like how he perches on buildings and stuff like a bird, like, I don't know, it's cute. I really don't think Bayformer's Starscream gets enough credit. I think most people are taken aback by his triangular appearance and weird bird face. And yes, those are quite strange, but look past those and you have one of the more memorable characters in the Michael Bay movies. Okay, but seriously, what did he say? It's really bugging me now. Hattie? Matty? Gaki?
Just looking at your ignorance repulses me to the core.
Unicron Trilogy Starscream is by far the most different interpretation of the character, and one of the most beloved. I want to stress that all the Starscreams from here on are like top tier. I have a really hard time choosing between all of them for the #1 spot because they're all pretty great. Unfortunately for UT Screamer, I am not a stan. If it was Armada alone, he'd probably be a lot higher, but the added weight of Energon and Cybertron really dragged him down for me. There's just other Starscreams that did his shtick a lot better, I felt. So instead of talking about why I think he's mid, I'm bringing in Commodin Cameroon to clear the waters a little bit. So Cam, go, you're up.
Armada Starscream, one of the greats. I mean, it's not like I did a 40-minute video on this guy. Hey, would you look at this? I'm on someone else's channel for once. Thank you for the invitation, my guy. But yes, this Starscream was the first to be explored in a proper unique way. I mean, I know it didn't land for everybody, but for me, this was such a good, emotional-driven story. I mean, every time Starscream got bullied in G1, it would be played off for last, but in Armada, every time he got bullied, it would build up his character arc more and more, and we'd see Starscream really kind of progress and kind of get sick of being treated that way. He may not be the all-evil and caniacal Starscream that we all know and love, but the character personality of Generation 1 Starscream didn't really fit with the tone of Armada, so they had to do something a bit more different and a bit more emotional. But the thing is, the Armada Starscream story ended a little bit too perfect, where Energon Starscream just kind of fell flat of all the emotional weight that was carried in Armada. Like, I don't know, just Starscream's arc felt like a slap in the face. But the Cybertron Starscream, you know, I don't like to think of it as part of the Unicron Trilogy. I like to think of it as its own unique Starscream in its own continuity, like how it was dubbed as Galaxy Force in Japan. And when I looked at it like that, I appreciated Cybertron Starscream a little bit better because I wasn't constantly thinking of Armada in my head, I was just thinking of this brand new fresh take. But I know you're ranking this as the entire Unicron Trilogy, but at the same time, I think Cybertron Starscream was pretty cool, and heck, the dude had a giant ass crown and he was like the size of a planet. Cybertron really went above and beyond on its craziness. I mean, I'm okay with your placement. I mean, if it was just Armada Starscream, then I would be like, a little bit higher, mate, go on, put that up a little bit more. But because you've included Energon and Cybertron, alright, fine, you win this one. This is number 5. I'm not mad, don't worry. For now.
Poor Cam. You wouldn't know how constipated he is from hearing him talk there. It's quite bad.
Prepare engines for takeoff. Recall all seekers. And someone tell me what these little buttons do.
I can't talk about Cyberverse Starscream without spoiling the show's best scene, so here's your spoiler warning. Get the flip out of here. Season 2 of Cyberverse begins with the usual Autobots versus Decepticons fair. Starscream trying to kill Megatron after years of abuse and taking over the Decepticons, usual stuff. Of course, Megatron is alive, but instead of the usual, "You failed me again, Starscream," that sort of thing. Something really interesting happens. Megatron wordlessly attacks Starscream, chasing him through the ship's halls as he pleads for his life. Megatron isn't angry, he doesn't even seem to enjoy what he's doing, he just looks upset that his second in command betrayed him. Even as he murders him and his lifeless body tumbles to the planet below, he just looks betrayed. To me, this is probably the best on-screen depiction of their relationship, and it's only really expanded upon further as the show goes on. I'm recording this later because I completely forgot to mention it. But after this happens, Megatron live streams Starscream's funeral on Facebook. And it's just like, he was so brave, he was so strong, and we'll miss him. It's like, you are such a bullshitter, man, and I love you. This one scene is the epitome of Cyberverse's whole mission statement, to challenge your feelings towards these characters and their world. And Starscream's character is the best example of that. This is once again quite a vanilla Starscream, but this one's all about the execution. He's the same old, but it's the actions he takes and the lengths he goes to reach his goal that makes him one of the most interesting Screamers. It's like you can actually track his slow descent into madness as the show progresses. Cyberverse wasn't a perfect show, but Starscream is a character that I love so much that it reinvigorated my enthusiasm for the whole franchise, and this motherfucker is only number 5. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Beast Wars 2 Starscream is a huge departure from the character's norms and a complete goofball, idiot, loser, and he's great. His partner in the show, BB, is a lovely change of pace. Giving Starscream a brutish bestie to show off how incompetent he is just mwah, cinema. Starscream's strength in this show is his charm. I'd say he's a lot more like Knockout than Starscream most of the time. He's smooth and sly and a huge snob, which obviously lands him in a lot of wacky hijinks. He's voiced by Hiroki Takahashi, better known as Ryu Street Fighter.
This is Ryu from Streets.
He does this absolutely incredible job balancing Starscream's smooth talking side with his cowardly everything. I want you to look me in the eyes here as I make the boldest statement I've ever made on this channel. This is the gayest Starscream. Fans are always saying which Starscream is the most gay coded and stuff. Screw you, it's this one. As Proverbs 3:5 says, lean not on your own understanding. Which basically means watch Beast Wars 2 and stop talking to me.
Starscream, you're alive.
What's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Transformers Animated Starscream is one of the very few incarnations of the character to actually murder Megatron. He gets the Decepticon fleet, he gets the power, he gets everything he ever wanted, but it's still not enough. He wants the Allspark so he can rule the universe. And he succeeds at that. It makes Starscream an immortal god able to create life by taking out pieces of himself. But was that an intentional Bible parallel? The point I'm making is that Animated Starscream has got to be the most successful Starscream ever. Discounting IDW, Animated Starscream fulfills almost all of his ambitions over the course of the show. His plans don't always work the way he intended, but he's still doing pretty well for himself, all things considered. He's got a drive that's almost unparalleled, even scheming and feeling 2 steps ahead of everybody while he's just ahead. Like, say what you want, but he gets shit done. I haven't even mentioned that he's voiced by Tom Kenny, who is such perfect casting that it sparked a bizarre chain of events that caused the 2007 global financial crisis. Don't believe me? Do I look like the kind of guy that would lie to you? Yes. I was so tempted to put this guy at number 1, but upon reflection, there's just 2 more I like a bit better.
You are either lying or you're stupid.
I'm stupid! I'm stupid!
G1 Starscream is perfect, no notes. I can't even knock him for being vanilla, cause no shit, he's the first one. I'm no G1er by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm totally a Starscream G1er. He's iconic, he's beautiful, he's stupid, I love him. No matter how hard Transformers try, they cannot transform into good role models, and Starscream knows that. Starscream doesn't care if you like him, he's Starscream. You could make the argument that this incarnation is the most powerful given his spirit lived on for millennia after his death, showing up in Beast Wars to haunt Waspinator and get into mischief, which is a great word to describe G1 G1 Starscream, mischief. Animated Starscream is conniving. Cyberverse Starscream is maniacal. Beast Wars 2 Starscream is smooth. G1 Starscream is just a gremlin. Just a little guy. He's just a little guy and it's his birthday. You're gonna punch a little birthday boy on his birthday? Getting a bit ahead of myself here. The point is, G1 Starscream is the Starscream most people think of when the character is brought up, and for good reason. He's definitely a standout character in the original cartoon, and his presence, or lack thereof in the movie, left a hole in the franchise that led to the inevitable end of the original show. Now, is it fair to pin the blame of G1's demise on the fact Starscream died? Well, yes. There were no other characters that perished in that movie more important than Starscream. Nope. Not a single one.
Megatron? Is that you?
Here's a hint.
I have gained a clear understanding of my place in this universe. Of who I am. Of who I was always meant to be. Starscream, second in command. Humble servant to Lord Megatron. Thank you for listening, Soundwave.
Prime Starscream stared Gay dead in the eye, and Gay blinked. He got the heels, he got the swagger, he got the Quasimodo hunch, but he's still not as gay as Beast Wars 2, just saying. Prime/Rid15/Aligned Starscream is far and away my favourite version of the character. He's the best part of the 2 shows he's in, despite some questionable writing and weird motivations. I love this bitch. I think I'd say he's the most outwardly evil, like he's two-faced and everything, but he barely tries to hide the fact that he's a sadistic murderer. The very first time we meet him, he violently stabs the Rock because he's just a little bit peeved. One of the best parts of the whole show is the whole block in season 2 where he's on his own trying to use whatever he can scrape together to get back at Megatron. He displays a level of intelligence that not a lot of other Starscreams have, while also being a complete dipshit. A lot of people seem to forget that he's meant to be a scientist. The way he's animated in Prime is so much more emotive and theatrical than any of the other characters in the show. It's a major contrast between the boring, slow Autobots and the jumpy, brisk Starscream. Emperor Kumquat did a half-hour video analysing how each angle and movement of his wings represents the emotion he's feeling at any given moment. It's a great little detail. Someone had a lot of fun behind the scenes doing this. I can't talk about him without mentioning Steve Blum giving what I think is the all-time greatest Starscream voice that's able to be both menacing and pathetic at the same time. While his follow-up appearance in Robots in Disguise is a visual downgrade in my opinion, he still retains all of the core features that make him my favourite Screamer, although a more formidable threat given the show's different stakes. Unlike the Unicron trilogy, this further appearance doesn't make him worse for me. It kind of felt like a natural progression for his character to have him try and get back at Megatron after ditching him. And they were such a cute couple too. I really like how Starscream learns to respect Megatron towards the end of Series 2 of Prime. Just grateful that he spared him. He spends the whole 3rd season content as Megatron's understudy. I'm calling it an understudy, I don't care. And then feels threatened by the mere existence of a Decepticon that could potentially make him obsolete. He spends the whole last quarter of the show doing everything in his power to get the attention and affirmation of Megatron. It's fun. For all Prime's faults, the writers nailed Starscream. He's 6'5". He's a beast. It's going to be hard for Earthspark or whatever comes next to make a Screamer that surpasses this. To me, he'll remain the GOAT for a long, long time. So there we go. That's all the on-screen Starscreams. What's that? No, just because video games are on screen doesn't mean... Yeah, I know, but that's like saying a book read on your tablet is on screen. It's a book. It's a different medium. When I say on screen, you know what I mean. I don't mean anything that is... I mean... Okay, square up. Come here. Come here. I'm not joking. Get over here. Who was I arguing with?
Sometimes, the worst battles we face are within our very souls.